He also said to him, I'm the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it. But Abram said, O sovereign Lord, how can I know that I will gain possession of it? So the Lord said to him, Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon. Abram brought all these to him, cut them in two, and arranged the halves opposite each other. The birds, however, he did not cut in half. Then birds of prey came down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. Firstly, in here, first time we notice the Lord, he admit his name, Yahweh, right? And I think because I believe that time many gods can be in people's vision. So we have a multi connection with the heaven, with the spiritual world. So many gods can just talk to you. But who is the God you worshipped or you followed or been guiding you all the time? God has to have a name. And this time, God revealed his name to Abram. I'm Yahweh. So I think each creature, even God, the dragon, whatever, everybody has a unique name, whether they give themselves or they have been given, or whether just the universe, just when it starts, assigned some kind of way of a calling. But anyway, that's the way they have. Also, I think the unique name, when you call it, the name itself has a certain frequency, right? So you, in program, same thing, you decode one name, it has the pointer, point to one thing. In another name, it has unique pointer, point to one thing. So this, every time when we call it Yahweh will hear. Otherwise, think about it. If without that, everybody calling, and it will be really annoying. It's so much noise. So I think it's a filter. It's a filter system. So when God has this unique name, when you call the God, whoever the God you worship, they shall receive. They shall receive if you have the correct name. Okay, that's what I think. Secondly, when Abram asked God, say, okay, since you told me something, right? But I'm human, so I need proof, some kind of proof, acceptable from the knowledge, from the education, from the my sense. I can see, I can hear, I can touch something. How to prove I can have the position, as you said. So this time, the God said, okay, well, I'm gonna use those methods. You bring the animal, you cut it, whatever. And this, in the ancient time, some call divination. But divination has a lot of a method, a lot. I mean, right now we have some magician or witchcraft, all those things. I highly believe they just a small variation of the divination. Also, I think maybe we kind of symbolize the divination. Also, made it from a very complicated or very clean question, or connect to the heaven, connect to the heavens, the question, inquire, those methods to use it to benefit ourselves. So I think it might break down the heavens, universal rules. So the witchcraft and magic, those things, you paid more price of yourself. The reason is when we use something as our own goodness, or even for helping somebody, right? you put yourself in a what? In a cause and a consequence. In the middle of the cause and consequence. It's karma. You will take the karma. So if yourself is not strong enough, too fragile to take the cause and consequence, you might suffer some severe things. Yeah. Well, it's very vague right now. It's just like I can't conceptualize these things yet, but many cases we can see. Anyway, let's go back like the message. So when God asked for what? For 3 years animal, all 3 years, right? All 3 years, usually those animals, after 3 years, they are fully matured. They're fully matured, so they can fully what? They can produce or they can reproduce. They can fully represents those animals, the character itself. And if too old, you don't want it too old, because what? The old animal represents what? Death, decreasing, those things. It's not a good things to the God, right? You need like a strong, healthy, those all the words, those all the symbols. I believe at the very far beginning, human put those concepts with the perspective things. You see the sunshine is good, you see the young kids is cute, whatever. Those, I believe that's very, very, very far beginning. Those concepts not from here, that's from our gene. Those concepts are really put inside of us. So when you bring the heifer is selflessness, production, nutrition, right? That's the heifer. And the meek is nice. That's the heifer. And the goat, same thing. Provide the milk and provide the meat, and they are scapegoat. They are very meek. They are very, very obedient. Usually, that's the word. Another is what? Ram. Ram means what? Spiritually means like go forward, straight, strong, something. So you need something strong. And the dove. Dove is the one who got the olive branches, right? So dove is the same thing, pure. Same thing, pigeon. Pigeon is pure. It's just, there's so much like extended meaning of it. So these, like, I don't want to like go expand that much. People can do it Google or find find the symbolic meaning of it. But when God asked Abraham, got those animals, the first thing is what? First thing is all those things Abraham, he can reach. He can find, right? He can find. You don't ask Abraham get like a sea lion. You don't ask Abraham to get a cheetah or get some like a swan, like at this moment, right? So when you predict things, when you do a divination, you use something surround you or ritual, you able to find it, then to do the sacrifice, to find out, because that's another theory of heaven and earth and the human. We are what? One. And the location you were standing, the time you are, the momentary things, whatever you can touch, that's the universe, that's the world. And you use this universe, some symbol, to ask the high universe or different universe to see what they can feedback. That's what I think. That's the concept. Everywhere same. Yeah, everywhere same. However, I saw they are like some divination. They use really real animal bones, whatever. And then think about it. Those real animal bones and very treasured material, they presents what? They presents even higher. Why? Because in the time they are rare, they last longer. They can last longer. So they have, well, that's the concept, but they can provide you longer, more precise information. That's what I think. It's all the symbol. Also, when I realized when Abraham like cut those animals to half, those 3 animals and the 2 birds, my first instinct, it's kind of like a 八卦, 易经八卦. The reason is like you have like a yin and a yang, like straight line, and 2 short lines, and the 2 short line kind of like an animal cut to half, right? And the male animal kind of like male animal kind of like the yang, and the female animal like a yin. I don't know. It's just very vague thoughts. So ancient time people does use those yin and yang, those opposite force to find out the question. I think that's another beginning of the Genesis talk about is from separate the lights from the darkness. So it's 2, 1 and a 2, those kind of binary theory, I think. But why need a pigeon and a dove, those things? I think a pigeon and a dove, they can fly away, and they are very fragile. They change momentarily. So it presents the timely, those message. This message will change momentarily. And it's kind of like when you do a witchcrafting or do a 八卦易经, even you got the symbol, right? You get a symbol. You get a total like 64 symbols, right? But there is actually 364 like truly symbols. And I think each line, it may change. So I think those birds represents changes. That's what my roughly thought. Okay, at this moment he just like cut to half, and the bird, maybe the bird's too small. They don't need to cut, I guess, or see what happens. And when the birds of a prey came down to the carcasses, usually those vulture or birds of carcasses, they will take the vulnerable things first. Why? Because, well, the guts, right? The animal guts, they're tasty, very tasty, easy to digest, better than animal's muscle. And so when you cut to half, you expose the lung and heart, intestine, liver, whatever, and he wants to see which animal the prey gonna take first. Also, if the animal take the bird, that will be an extremely weird symbol. So at this moment, it's a Lord, it's God's like method. It's God's method, and I think Abram is acceptable. Abram is understandable, and I believe they were using those methods to ask, to question, to do the altar. Also in here, I think ram. I believe like they say ram is represents some kind of altar meaning, or goat means. Well, I think it's ram. So it's all those 3 animals. It's kind of like all altar like. Well, yeah, sounds like. What do you think? Like the ram made altar, and the goat as a scapegoat, and the heifer as the ground or the altar itself, and the 2 pigeon like 2 killer side beside. Well, anyway, it's just like just those kind of thoughts flying around. Anyway, I think symbolic things are very interesting, very mysterious things. And just at the beginning, we talk about the cursing, blessing, witchcraft, those kind of things. Those things are very, very deep knowledge. I don't want to like mislead that much because I didn't do much research of it. I just read some books, but I highly believe don't put yourself too much into it. Even like those things may work some, but it does put yourself into cause and consequence, because the karma, I believe the karma, universe is very universal rules runs everywhere. Even gods, they have to follow let's back to the beginning of Abraham, and the God that has used the vision, talk to him. I always ask myself, why God need these kind of method? I mean, when Abraham said, okay, just how should I know, right? How should I know I will have the possession, whatever? Then if the God able, he can show him in the vision, or he can use different method. But God asked him to do the work, sacrifice, to do the cut the cow, cut the sheep, cut the birds, whatever, those kind of method. It's a divination. I would say like, okay, when you can do yourself, when you can be you in that location, when you can actually yourself do something, or you can in that location, you don't need to use that kind of method. Use a bridge, right? Because the divination is basically a bridge. So also, let's see. Now I realize why I use pigeon and dove. That's from my thoughts, or I read some book. I think the symbol presents, okay, that represents. Firstly, I think those animals cut to half. It represents the meaning of, for example, the pure, the given, the sacrifice, whatever those things, right? So you cut to half, those meaning are within the blood. God love meat. God love blood. It's so many times we already see it. It's in the Bible, like he loves Abel, give him the food, all the meat, barbecue meat. Yeah, he loved those meats. He loved the smelling, you know. So he loved blood. He's a bloody God. Anyway, when you cut the animal to half, in this time, the vulture, maybe those are praise, right? They came to pick whatever within the message, within it, they took it. Then this time, those dove and the pigeon. See, pigeon represents what? Pigeon, if you let it go, it can come back, right? It can come back quick, right? It can come back. It has naturally, it has own own capability. Also, dove, same thing. Dove can bring the what? Bring hope. Bring a good message. Bring the message back. So, I think these two birds are the symbol of a messenger. They took their soul, or their spirit. Let's say their spirit. Their spirit took the message, flew away, whatever, let God know, or God read the message through this message. It's kind of text message or something, you know. That's what I feel. But why God use this method? It's just so, I don't understand. Then when we keep looking back, when the king of Salem talked to Abram, oh yeah, the highest God bless you. But you know what? The Abram, he's talking to God, total different God. I'm talking about the God created heaven, created earth. I'm talking about God did something. He specified that's the God. That's the God. The God I worship is not the God you talk about. So the blessing from you doesn't count. It doesn't count. So that's not I understand. God actually this time is behind the enemy line. Yeah. So that's the reason he used a vision. He possessed Abraham to give him a vision. So God is behind the enemy line. He cannot show himself, right? If you're behind enemy line, I think that God bow is strong. So he has to use this method, the vision, through and the divination, through this method to give Abraham the message. Now everything makes sense. is a kind of outside of this divination, because when I thought about Abram starts doing the sacrifice, doing the divination, I just try to put myself into the situation, whether he has a chanting or not, or he has no script, or yeah, he reads some script. I don't know. It's that moment I suddenly thought about the 6 spells from Buddhism. It's Mani Padme Hum, right? Mani Padme Hum. It's kind of like when I try to use the word of man, those songs start to vibrate my brain. So at the beginning, my idea is our brain represents a universe, a unique universe. Even it is a small universe, but it's the connection to the universe, or the representation of one unique universe. So when you use the song, different vibrations start to stimulate the brain, make the universe start to vibrating, right? It generates some kind of signal or frequency or brainwave, whatever. So it might connect to the high universe. That's what I thought at the beginning. It's just one thought. But continually, I thought one thing is something called tuitive and intuitive. It's kind of like this. If I raise something in front of you, for example, something in front of you, right? If you don't know what it is, so they are human. We have 2 ways to figure out. One, tuitive. I use measurement, reference, all those things, and those rules, principles. Try to categorize it. Try to figure out what it is. Testing something. And another is, well, I look at, I imagine it, I lick it, I bite it, or do something more. Use your sense, use your feeling, more intuitive method to figure out what it is. Actually, it's interesting. I wrote a script before. It's kind of like you don't know what it is. You try to open it. You try to figure out what's inside. So one is intuitive. You follow through all the algorithm, all the rules. Another is you use a lot of a blunt, brutal, or force, kind of like a mad crying baby try to use the head bump the door or something. But anyway, it's just like a 2 method human usually to figure out what it is. At this moment, I'm sure like Abram has I would say intuitive method, because he cut animal to half, right? And then line up them. So it has some kind of concept within it. Why he's not just chop the head off? Why he's not just cut the leg off? Why he just cut the throat, right? So it gotta be some reason. Some reason represents within it life and death, and I believe that time I think is a matching symmetric way is still beautiful. So I think that's represents some kind of heavenly value concept, symmetrical way. But always at that moment I stand myself wondering in the field. Okay, the more I know, the more I don't know. Indeed, yeah, that's indeed it is. Like you draw a circle, small circle, right? Small circle. What is outside the small circle? Small. But if you have a bigger circle, what is outside is bigger, right? So small circle inside represents something you know. From intuitive, I would say intuitive, yes, you know, because I can repeat, I can describe, I can regenerate something. But outside, you have to use experimental, test, sense, those kind of way to figure out. So it's the more I don't know. But gradually, we build up our experiment, like medically or physically something. So the circle getting bigger, right? Getting bigger. But still outside is, a no is still more. So at this moment, I highly suggest, try to expand or practice your intuitive method, your imagination, your even leap, doesn't matter, your brain, people call it brain fart. Well, it's better than no brain, right? It's better than you can't do nothing about it. So brainstorm, brain fart, leap, imagination, whatever, it's all good, because what? That's all from the universe. It's all from a lot we don't know. And I still believe like a lot of things, kind of like, I try to categorize like the behavior. I try to write actually a essay. It's about the new and the sense. Do you know, realize people, a lot of people, they have like 6 sense or 7 sense. Let's say a minimum 6 sense. They can feel something. You have a goosebump, right? You can tell something, the dangers come, but you can't tell. But some people, based on some kind of indication, some kind of analysis, they say, well, they're gonna happen. It does happen, so they can predict something. But when the real like a danger comes, they may not sense. So I would say like I try to write this kind of like one is sense and a no, and logically another is based on the time is a pre, another is a pro. So you can be some person, you knew something early and you can sense something early. That's I would say preacher or priest. No, it's actually, wow, you are almost Jesus. Sorry, God, half God. Then someone, they knew something, but they can't sense. You're still good. You're knowledgeably, and you'll be good like an analyst. And someone, they can sense something, but they don't know the reason. Well, still talented, useful, right? Talented, useful. Or someone, they don't know anything. They don't know, and they even cannot sense. Well, they are wasted, or they just, yeah, they are wasted if the danger comes, and nobody can do anything about it. And someone, after things happen, well, they can make a conclusion, they can do analysis, but you know what? It just after, based upon those things statistically, right? Still good for what? For next threat. And someone, they cannot make it conceptually, but after this things happen, they can find out the detail within those kind of threats, within those kind of events. Some people, they from different angle, different view. That's really good, still really good. So people, we have a different people, different usage, we from different aspect to describe our universe, try to complete ourselves. And that makes really magnificent life. And after I done with the divination, I start to draw myself back. And it's a really good experience to do the divination with Abram. And yeah, hope you can try.